Yay! I haven't seen
Yay!
you in a while.
I know it's been a
Where
while.
you been hiding?
Everywhere I can.
Well, you just moved out to Word Axe, what you told me before.
Yes, yes.
So I guess I should look out there for trying to find you. But nonetheless, we always get with our extension, usually the fourth Wednesday of the month.
Hmm.
Talk about some different things going on. We know there's a big event coming up in July locally, and we do know that. There's a lot of other little things that are going on that we just need to go ahead and keep people reminded of. One of them actually is coming up this Friday. It's going to be here before we know it, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is where they can learn about the warm season grasses to help improve grazing and wildlife systems. It's a workshop that's going to be offered by the University of Missouri Extension. It's an in-person workshop. Yay!
Yeah. So
Um,
good to have those
yes,
back.
it is. Yes, it is. I tend to kind of get busy with other things when we're on Zoom and not giving it my full attention. So I
Yeah.
need I
And
need
then
face to
somebody asks you a
face.
question about it, you're like,
Can you repeat what you just talked about the past 5 minutes? Because I was, yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's good that we're getting back in person with a lot of our meetings at Extension. And so I'm getting to meet everybody
Right.
finally and
But
face
these
to
kind
face.
of workshops, though, farmers and the people who attend, they get as much information from each other as they do the instruction.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's going to be this coming Friday from 8 until 1 at the Davisville American Legion Hall, 194 State Route V in southeastern Crawford County. And like you said, a lot of times these workshops, the farmers have as much to bring to the table as
Hmm.
the extension employees do.
Sure.
So it's a good opportunity for them to learn from different aspects and different people and get new ideas. And this is working for me, and this is not working for me, and because we don't want to be making the same mistake.
Why?
So if somebody's tried it and it's not working, then let's try something else.
You know,
And
we're all in this together,
yes,
and so it's not
yes,
like we're competing with each other for the same ground. It's
right.
not. Your ground may have this or may have that. We all know when Eric was here and I talked to Gatlin the other time on the phone about how important soil testing is. I think
Absolutely.
people forget. They think, well, it's grass. Well, it's grass, you're right, but it's a warm season grass. It's a cool season grass. It
Hmm.
has grass that maybe doesn't have much nutrient value to it whatsoever because it's growing on soil that doesn't have anything left in it except the bare minimums to allow grass to grow.
Right,
And so
right.
your livestock out there is not getting the nutrients they want. They're not adding the weight that they should. And next thing you know, you're trying to figure out, what am I doing? I had to go buy hay to feed, and all of a sudden the expenses keep rolling up when maybe, just maybe, just a couple of soil tests might there tell you that you might need to treat your land a little bit.
Right,
Give it a
right.
little help.
Yep. So this is a good networking
It
opportunity for
is.
them to all get together. And, things are different from property to property and state to state. So, having everybody local here is just a great opportunity for them. Gatlin Bunton is going to be the one that's doing the workshop. It
Okay.
looks like it's $30 per person, $50 for a farm couple. And you can call, and I'm assuming these are numbers to
Yeah,
reach Gatlin, maybe?
Rachel's the other one.
And Rachel?
She's gonna be helping out. Yep,
Okay,
and
so
those are their numbers.
yes, so it's 573-438-2671 or 573-775-2135. And you can also register online at extension.missouri.edu/events.
Right, all
And
you
then
gotta
just find that event and
easy to do.
follow the links, and it'll get you there for your
So that's
registration.
Friday, and so you need to
That's
really
Friday.
get on that one pretty quick. Now there's another one next Monday and Tuesday, isn't there?
Yes, there
Another
is.
get together.
The University of Missouri Extension's Woodland Steward program is going to be hosting a workshop with a twilight tour demonstrating woodland management practices according to the University of Missouri Extension Natural Resources Specialist Sarah Havens. And if you have not met Sarah Havens, she is amazing. She's just so cool. She's full of so much information. We were
Right.
talking about WordAct a while ago, and we did a little retreat out there, and I got to tour the facility. That was the first time I had been there. and she did a demonstration on inoculating logs with shiitake mushrooms. I had never done anything like that. It was hands-on, so we all got to do that. So it was really cool. So she is amazing, and it's going to be a virtual session on woodland management tools through Zoom, Monday evening, the 27th, from 7 to 9 p.m. And then the following evening, on the 28th, they're going to be meeting in person from 6 to 8:30 at WORDAC Extension and Education Center in Cook Station. You'll get a tour of the recent examples of forest management practices. There's a $25 fee, and that includes a light meal prior to the tour. Missouri has 15 million acres of privately owned forest land, and management on the private acres is just as important as on public lands, as good forest management on private lands benefits the wildlife and forest health in the state.
You bet.
So that's just kind of goes back to what we were just talking about a few minutes ago with the farm. But you can, for the workshop, this is kind of a long one, muext.us/woodland workshop 2022.
Trust me, if you go into the extension website, you just type in woodland, it'll get you there.
Yep. And also look at all the other events.
Oh,
that they have
there's a
coming up.
bunch.
There's
And these
a
are
ton
just
of
the
them.
local ones, and
Right.
there's a whole bevy of in-person type of classes and things going on right now, from heifer management all the way down to grasses and different
Right.
things of that nature, even eradication of
Gardening
weeds.
and-
Yeah, some pretty good stuff out there. And as you mentioned, this one is kind of a hybrid. It's a
Right.
Zoom and an in-person one. So
Right.
a little bit different. I don't normally see hybrid ones. Either it's one or the other, but
Right.
not this one. This is pretty cool. So that'll be next Monday and Tuesday, and you still got plenty of time to get that signed up for that one. And again, Sarah does a great job.
Yes,
She
she
explains
does.
stuff, and you'll really love the tour. Trust me. And but she's very, very intelligent young lady, and but she's knowledgeable, and when it comes to the timbers. I'll
Right.
tell you what, and I think, and Amy, and don't quote me on this, but I know a lot of people around here. Obviously, we have a lot of woods, but they don't realize how much money there actually is, maybe even on their own property with the back 40. They don't really
Absolutely.
go back there because there's all these woods. Well, there's always a lot of money back there. It's a great asset for your property. You might need to look at that. And the extension can help you
Oh, yeah.
with that
Oh,
as
yeah.
well.
Yep. And Sarah, and I believe it was Gatlin too, last year when we first moved up here, we moved from Florida, but they did a workshop on food plots, and an amazing job, things we had never thought of before and didn't know. I mean, we didn't have, people do food plots in Florida, but we personally didn't have any. So this
It's
was
not a Missouri food plot, though.
Well, even gardening is different.
Sure.
We were out working in our garden last night, and I'm like, goodness gracious, you can't just pull these weeds out of the ground
No.
like we did in Florida, because we had a lot of sand in
Sand.
Florida.
Got a lot of sand
So
base.
here
Yep.
it's like concrete, so it's a whole new learning experience. So
Should have
yes,
done
the
that back when it was
extension-
wet, right?
Yes,
But
yes.
of course, they weren't there then, were they?
They weren't there then,
No.
so.
Well, they were. They were just little itty seeds.
Yep.
And
So
she-
it's a whole new learning experience, and it's amazing the different classes and workshops that you can get from Extension. So, yeah, go to that website, look at their events. You can see some of the past ones, and more than likely there's one scheduled for the future as well, because
Sure.
they do try and keep them going. And nutrition, gardening,
Yep.
anything you can think of.
And if you're into gardening, last night they had to cancel their Weed Warriors. As a matter of fact,
Right.
that was their class was going to be scheduled last night over at the Salem Community Garden. A little bit warm last night. It was
Right.
pretty hot yesterday.
Yes, it was.
And so they canceled that, but they're going to reschedule that. But if you're interested in a plot out there at the Salem Community Garden or the workshops that they have, and they're free. They're open to
Absolutely.
anybody. You don't have to have a plot out at the community garden to go and learn about how to do the different things that they're showing you. The master gardeners are out there to instruct you on the different ways of gardening that there might be. Some people have hybrid systems that they put together that are self-watering. It's amazing some of the things that you find out. I saw this gentleman had a rainwater waterer, and he captured rainwater in his barrel, and then he had a timer on the barrel that it would release water to his plants.
Yeah.
And it was just so cool. And you're thinking, well, I remember Grandma and Grandpa had a cistern that all the rainwater went to the cistern. Okay. Well, I'm thinking, wouldn't it have been cool back then instead of us having to get down there and clean that thing out? Which is scarier and all big get out to get in. But nonetheless, here it is. It's automatic.
Yeah.
And it had a pump on it, and it would just lightly spray. It was timed. I don't know how long it was, maybe 10, 12 minutes, and then it would shut off. And you didn't use all your rainwater. You weren't transporting it. You're not wasting it.
Right.
It's all in a nice little tube that goes right in the ground, right along the plants. That is all on timer. And it was amazing. I sat there, I thought, well, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Using a little bit of today's technology and a little bit of yesterday's common sense. And
you think about it, when you're watering your garden, what needs the water, the plant or the roots? So using those microjets in your garden, the water just goes right down to the root system, and just a few minutes here and there, off and on throughout the day.
Exactly. So when you spray, you get the hose out and you spray your garden, and you're wasting all of that, and you watch it on a day like yesterday, you'll watch half of that evaporate. Within seconds.
Yes.
Hitting that ground, just zoop, gone.
Yep.
So yeah, there's some pretty interesting things out there, and you can learn a lot from the master gardeners, not only about maybe some new innovative ways of trying to keep your plants watered, but some maybe new ways of growing them. Oh gosh, I attended one of these, and this gentleman had a plastic container, and he cut an angle. It kind of looked like a chair, and I thought, what in the heck is that? And he said, this is a great way to capture water, because water never comes basically straight down. It usually comes on an angle. But we miss most of it, because when it comes on an angle, if you're straight up and down, you only get part of it. So he goes, if you know which way the rain's going to come, from the southwest or northeast, you turn this around and you get double the amount of water. And it drains. I think,
That's
seriously?
That's
Seriously?
brilliant. Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, I mean, if it's coming out of the southwest, turn it toward the southwest. If it's coming out of the east, turn it toward the east. And the angle it's got it's got the big cup here, but the opening faces right where the water's coming from. Well, it makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
And then he had a little tube that went out, and I wish I'd have thought of that myself.
Yeah.
Patented and made trillions of dollars. Maybe not that, but but just some things that can help you. Because right now we're short on rain. We weren't short on rain 3 weeks ago, but we are now. And it doesn't look like there's really any rain in the forecast for the next week. So anyway, but take advantage of these things, the extension. If you still want to plot out the community garden, by the way, you can still get one. You can call Sarah Massengale at the extension office, or you can contact Charlie Grimm or any of the gang out there when they have the meetings or out there Saturday mornings. Go on out and check it out for yourself, and then ask how you can do the plot, because it doesn't cost you anything. It's free.
Especially if you're new to it, because they're right there to help you answer any questions. So, take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Great opportunity.
All right, very good. All right, we've got a couple other things coming up. We already kind of have given people a little tease about what's coming up in July. And it's going to be here before you know it. I keep feeling like the expo gets closer and closer and closer to July 4th.
I know.
It just seems like it's right on top of July 4th this year, and I don't know why. It really isn't, but it feels like it is.
Yep.
Years ago, Amy, before you came in, we used to have the Fall Festival in August.
I have heard about that.
And it was actually during school.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. But school started a little bit earlier back then, too.
Right.
It's like the second week of August. Well, then it got moved back to the first week, and then they wanted to get it away from the state fair. So they moved it up a little bit earlier, and now we're moving up in the day part. So there have been some changes made to it, but one of the nice things about it is it's still a great effort by our kids to understand how hard it is to raise animals and then to try and profit from that.
Yes. And before we talk about the expo, one of the things that they participated in was the jackpot show. That used to kind of be, if you're a first-year exhibitor, you had to go to the jackpot show, and they had it out at the Commons. Last year, I believe, was the first year they moved it to Texas County.
Right, used to.
The fairgrounds there. So we couldn't really require our 4-H and FFA first-time exhibitors to go because it's in a different county,
Sure.
and we know, not everybody can get there. But I helped them out this year, and they always have a Dent, Texas County portion of the show. And our Dent County kids, and if I have any 4-H people or FFA people out there listening, we do have a Facebook page for Dent County 4-H. We've got 4 clubs here in Dent County, and I try to encourage the parents whenever their kids, I don't want to say unless your kids are showing, don't send me pictures. Because 4-H is much more than that. But
Right.
the bulk of the pictures and information that I get are from families that are going to different shows and
Absolutely.
showing their livestock. So if there's any 4-H parents out there listening, please, if your kids are involved in anything, whether it's gardening at home, helping out in a nursing home, or whatever, please send me pictures because I love to let the community know what our Dent County kids are doing. I'm one of those that keep them busy. It keeps them out of trouble.
Because
And
you always hear about the ones in trouble, don't you?
You always hear about the ones in trouble, and not about the ones that are out there learning new things and teaching other kids the things that they have learned. I've seen some pictures, and if you look at our Facebook page, I've shared some of those pictures where there's a group of 5 or 6 kids that are clipping an animal, getting it ready for show, and one of the moms made a comment on one of the pictures that they never say a word. They are focused on what they're doing, but what just warms my heart is they're helping each other.
Right.
I mean, they could be looking at it, I'm not going to help you because you're showing against me, but they don't have that attitude. They're there to help and teach and learn themselves. And I think that is just amazing whenever we see things like that. So I like showcasing that. I like letting the community know what our kids are up to. So send me pictures, give me details, and I will post them on our Facebook page because that's what 4-H and FFA is all about, is getting the kids out in the community and helping other kids learn from them. So
I always say that, obviously we just kind of mentioned it, that the kids that get in trouble get all the headlines. It's unfortunate that is the case when they get in trouble, nobody should even know about them. But it should be the other way around. The kids that do the great stuff are invisible. They never see them because they blend right in. They don't stand out. And because they don't stand out, they're not getting the attention. Now, a lot of these kids don't want the attention. They just want to do what they want to do. So if I want to raise my animal, if I want to build my fence, or I want to do that, leave me alone. Let me go do it. But they're not asking for glory. They're not asking to have their picture taken. They're not asking for any of this. But if you happen to come across these young kids doing a lot of great work, take a shot of that on your phone and then send it in. There's no harm in doing that when you show somebody doing the right things, the good work that, we all grew up doing. Everybody had chores. You had chores. I had chores. They had to be done every day. You didn't get them done that day. Sometimes Dad said, "Well, you didn't do your chores." And I'll say, "Well, I'm sorry, Dad." He goes, "Sorry doesn't cut it. You don't eat." All of a sudden, that gets your attention. You're hungry. You don't get to eat. Now, Mom would usually sneak you something later, but his word was, if you don't do what you're supposed to do around the house, you don't get it. You don't eat.
Right.
Now, it's a quick lesson to learn. Usually within one time, you remember, if I don't do my chores, I don't eat. Doesn't take a lot of repetition to
That's
it,
right.
okay?
That's right.
But the easy thing is, we start talking about gardening, we start talking about things. You're growing your own food. If you don't get out there and weed it, don't take care of it, there's your food source. It's gone.
Right.
For your animals, if you don't get out there and take care of them, brush them, maintain them, make sure they're watered, make sure they're healthy, that's your food source. It's gone. These kids are learning such a valuable lesson with doing the different things that they do. It's amazing to me. When I grew up as a city boy, so I never had a chance to do this. 4-H in the city was basically a little get-together club, and they did business stuff. There was none of this agricultural stuff. There was none of the thing about growing anything. There was nothing about archery. None of that.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Then I come down here and I'm seeing all the different things our clubs do down here. I'm thinking, no wonder why kids want to be a part of this. This is cool stuff.
It's very cool.
But
Especially nowadays.
Right,
With the
but
way the world is.
back in the 60s, that wasn't the case in the city. The 4-H's were, and then there was 4-H clubs, but they just didn't have much to do besides these little, I'll just kind of say like little business meetings. And that's all they really did.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that it was bad. I mean, I went to a couple of them, but there wasn't anything fun.
Right.
Oh,
Wasn't anything to do.
Yeah, there's nothing fun about this. I do this every day. I was helping my mom with payroll back when I was little. I was like, this is just like work.
Yeah.
This isn't fun. So the neat thing is that we have some great 4-H'ers. We have 4-H'ers who are also FFA members. What a wide spectrum of knowledge that these people get from the different things that they're presented to through their 4-H clubs.
Right. Great opportunities. And, they don't realize everything that they're learning from that experience and where that can lead them. When I was an ag teacher in Florida, one of the contests that we did was the meat judging contest. And you had to be able to identify the different cuts of meats and grade your carcass and all that kind of stuff. And I asked one of the kids one time, I said, so why do you think we do this contest? And he said, so when we go to the grocery store, I know a good cut from a bad cut. Not that they would sell bad cuts, but a better cut. And I said, okay, what about beyond that? And I just got it. I mean, he was thinking, he was really trying to figure it out, but he said, I don't know. And I said, well, go way back. Where does that meat that you're looking at in the grocery store come from?
Mm-hmm.
And then where does it come from before it gets to that point? And where does it come from before it gets to that point? I said, so you're starting out a little farmer down the road and then going to a feedlot and they finish them out and then the slaughterhouse and then these companies, these grocery stores have buyers and they go to the slaughterhouse or the packing house and they know how to look at that carcass and determine that's what I want my customers to have. So I said, there's jobs from all the way back at the farm all the way up to the grocery store. There's somebody involved. So he's like, I never even thought about that.
And then you have the vets that have to take care of the animals.
Absolutely, the vets that have to take care of them.
And it's so important.
Yep.
And what I really appreciate about these kids, and of course we get a chance to see them at the expo in person doing what they do with their animals. But there's a joy to this. And I know some people say, well, it's hot out there. How do those kids do it? They're proud of that animal.
Oh,
There's
yes,
a
they
joy to what they have done. This is an accomplishment that they have done. You can tell some of them that where mom and dad have probably helped them out quite a bit. There's not that same level, but boy, you got about 80%, 90% of these kids that have done this on their own by themselves. And boy, you can tell it.
And if they've been doing it right,
yeah,
you can tell that they put the time in it. It's not just a matter of going out there every day and slinging some feed and some hay to them.
Right.
There is a lot more to it than that. And, I have seen cases, and I'm sure you have too. You've been to many expos and shows where it's obvious the kid is not the one that worked with the animal.
Right.
Because if the kid's been working with the animal, that animal knows their
them.
touch, their voice, the vibe that's coming from them. So, these kids put in a lot of time. One of the things I noticed right off the bat is, you can tell it because when you are walking with your pig and there's not a fence in sight, there were a couple of them last year that whenever they got there to check in at Expo and the line was kind of long to unload the trailers, they just opened the trailer and, I can walk my pig up there quicker than sitting in this line.
That's right next to it.
So they're going through the parking lot walking their pig.
Yeah.
And if they had not spent the time with that animal, they would not be able to do that. It would be like a rodeo out in the parking lot with the pigs gone wild.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
So you can definitely tell
and that can get very dangerous when pigs go wild.
Yes, it can.
They can get up ahead of steam pretty quick, and they take you off your feet. It's going to hurt.
Yep. Yes, it will.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But we want to salute our 4-H kids. Now, a lot of the camps for 4-H that normally are held in June, that's all done, obviously,
Well, actually,
for the most part. For the most part.
this is and this was my first overnight camp. Last year we did a day camp.
Okay.
At Camp Clover Point
Yeah.
in
I think
Lake
that was
of the
only
Ozarks.
allowed last year was day camps.
That was
right?
all that was allowed. And Sarah Havens was there for the natural resources portion of it. This year we were back in person, so this was my first overnight 4-H camp, and it was amazing. I have to say though that I went the first week. This year they did it 3 weeks, and I think normally in the past when they were having in-person overnight camps, different counties went different weeks. This year they did it a little bit different. There were 3 weeks they could sign up for, and they just picked a week. So the first week we had some kids from Dent County, and the second week we had kids from Dent County. This is the third week, and this will be the last week of camp for this year. So I went the first week, and the weather was amazing. I'm kind of glad I wasn't there the second and third week.
Especially last week.
It was
brutal.
hot. Yes, it was. But it was great. We had a small group the first week, a much larger group the second and third week. So they are wrapping up summer camp. I guess tomorrow will be it.
That'll be it, yeah.
That'll be it. And then we're already making plans for next year's camp. So it was exciting. It was good to see the kids. And, the coolest thing, and I wish every summer camp would do this and every conference would do this, but when the kids check in, guess what they leave? Their cell phones.
Oh, yeah.
Their cell phones. And you know what? Everybody survived. Everybody
What?
survived. Yes,
They
I
made
know.
the whole
It's
4 days
unbelievable.
or 5
And
days?
I never heard anybody complaining. I sure do wish I had my phone, and nothing. They were focused on what they were there for and having a good time, and so it was really nice. We had one night we had a storm come through. It was in the wee hours of the morning. A storm came through. It woke me up.
Get your attention.
Yes, it did. And the next morning, we didn't have power until
that gets your attention,
That
too.
got my attention, too, because that meant no coffee.
What?
I know.
Somebody has a campfire, don't they?
Somebody, yeah. So I think we were having lunch, and the power came on, so everybody was glad we had power, and I immediately jumped up and got the coffee pot going. I said, it is past time for some coffee. But it was a good time. It was a good time. So we are going to be having a meeting probably in the next month or so to
review that.
To review this year and tweak what we need to and start making plans for next year.
Which brings to light, we want to make sure that the kids do have an opportunity. If they want to go to camps, and these camps are available, and make sure that you get with Amy, and then as soon as they're announced, you can actually get them the information they need. I may not be able to sign up for it yet, but at least you'll have an idea what the dates are. And usually, I think sign-ups start like 2 months ahead of time or before that. But there's some amazing camps. Now, COVID killed a lot of those camps for a short period of time. I'm hoping they come back. They have space camps and different things that were out there. I'm sure when COVID hit, a lot of those, I know all of them basically just got shut down.
Right.
And it's going to take a while to get them all back. But if you're interested in some kind of camp, it's a great way to go. And as Amy mentioned, you take the phone away, you find out there's a whole new world out there.
Absolutely.
And, one of my biggest things I try and tell people that I said, I didn't grow up with a cell phone. But I always was curious what was over that hill, or curious about what's down that road. Because I'll do the same thing today. I said, where's that? I wonder where that road goes. Well, I don't know. And I said, let's go find out. Well, why? Just because.
Yeah.
You never know what's around the corner. You
That's
might
right.
find the most beautiful house in the world, most unusual tree. But you're never going to do it if you don't go there.
Right.
But I feel like sometimes the youth today says, well, I can look at it on my phone. Guys, that's not the same thing as walking up to that tree that might be 160 feet in the air and touching it.
Right.
Or feeling the breeze underneath and hearing the leaves rustle, or whatever it might be that you get underneath that, and you realize that this is a work of nature that you can't duplicate on a phone.
That's right.
Guys, you need to be out there. These workshops we talk about, you can't duplicate any of that on a phone. You can Zoom all you want to, but until you get out there and get those hands-on demonstrations, just like you talked about with the mushrooms, you can't do that by phone. You can watch somebody do it. That doesn't mean you know what it's going to, the texture of it.
Right.
You know, people don't understand a lot of times. They'll watch a recipe on a phone or TV show, which is okay. I get it. You know, you don't know how to do it, so you're going to watch the recipe. But as they're stirring it and as you're doing things, I worked in the kitchen for years. Texture, smell, those things are so key and of ingredients to what you're making that without them, you can watch all you want, and somebody's going to taste it, and they're going to just give you that look in the face that you know that obviously that wasn't very good.
Right.
You know, I was trying to keep it clean right there because usually I spit it out, but you can always tell by the texture. So when somebody's helping you to learn, if they say that batter needs to be smooth and creamy, to me might be something different than it does to you. In a restaurant,
it can look smooth and creamy
it can look
on
smooth.
A camera.
You betcha, and it's not.
But
It's still
not.
got lumps, or it's got this, or it's too thick. You know, you need to be able to get some help. Okay, if it's too thick, how do I thin it out? Sometimes it's just water. Sometimes you end up finding people put a little vegetable oil.
Right.
Some people put lard in there, and they're like, "Wow, you know what? Put lard? That's just nothing but fat." We've been cooking with lard for a long time, people. And actually, lard's one of the cleanest things to cook with because it's a natural source.
Right.
You know, even vegetable oil has to be processed, but not lard. It just cut it right off, and there it is.
That's right.
You know, so, you know, one of the interesting things is that there are these learning opportunities for these youngsters away from their phone, and they absorb it. It's like a big sponge in their head. They've taken a visual thing away from it that's on a little small picture screen, and now here's this whole big picture, true big picture of what's out there.
Right. One of the sessions that they had arts and crafts, natural resources. They did their swimming, but one of the things that I really enjoyed, because I've never done it before, they had the tri-county electric companies. So we had Inter-County Electric there, Boone County Electric, and I'm sorry I can't remember. Seems like there were three of them.
There's Crawford County. There's
I can't remember the other one. But all of the kids had the opportunity to make their own extension cord.
Oh, yeah.
I've never done anything like that before, so I'm like, and we all got probably a 4 or 5 foot extension cord. We put it together ourselves, and they tested it to make sure we had everything connected right, and it worked. And then we all got our extension cord to bring home with us. And
well, that's pretty
like
cool.
you were just saying, we could sit there and watch that on TV or on a YouTube video or whatever, but actually the hands-on part of it, I mean, it made me want to just go to Lowe's and buy everything I need, or Home Depot or Roberts Judson or whatever, and buy everything I need so I can make some more.
But exactly, but it's not just the extension cord, because you had to put 2 ends on that extension cord,
Right.
and you have to wire them correctly.
Right.
So you have to know what the positive, the negative, the ground is.
Yep.
And when you put that together, you say, okay, now I know what that is, and on the other side, I know where that goes. You know, it's amazing, you know, what you learn when you do something like that. You learn more than just one thing. Okay, go cut the cord at 4 feet 4 inches, and you're going to trim off this, and it'll end up being 4 feet because you got connectors on each end.
Right.
It's amazing what you learn and how you do it, and how you learn how to pull that wire back, open it up, and then to put it in, tighten it up.
And not only that, but now
you have something useful.
If you have an extension cord at home that's getting a little frayed,
Yep.
you know, at the ends, now you know how to fix it.
And you won't go throw it away.
And you won't go throw it away. Right. So that was kind of
but
cool.
those are all great real life studies.
Yes.
And Amy, that's what I was talking about with our 4-H kids. They get a chance to do this with the shooting skills and things of that nature. It's just amazing how many things that we offer. And one of the nice things that we have done here in Dent County for years is open that up to people who have a special skill. If you have a special skill that you would love to teach kids. You know, I remember a guy down in West Plains was making violins. Now, I don't think he came up to Dent County, but he got as far as Texas County. He was going there for their 4-H program and teaching them how to make a violin.
Oh my goodness.
I can't even imagine
Yeah.
how you would make a violin, but he did from scratch. You know, putting the wood together, getting the tone of that, how to treat the wood, doing all the why there's the curves, why there's the holes, how it's cut out, sanding it down by hand,
That's awesome.
then stringing it and putting
Because
the
kids need to know,
But-
and adults too. I'm one
Sure.
of those. If you give me a task, okay, what's our outcome? What are we working toward? Tell me why I'm doing this, and then I'll understand how to do it better. And that's the same way with kids. If they know all the ins and outs of a project that they're working on, besides just how to do it, why am
Right.
I doing it? Like you said, what is this hole for? Why does it have the curves? Then it makes more sense to them. And just the fact that it's hands-on, I mean, kids need that. I had a lot of
Exactly.
kids when I taught ag. I mean, I could sit there and tell you how to read a seed packet and how to pick that seed up and how to, figure out how deep the hole needs to be. But until they actually have that seed in their hand
And do it.
and they're actually getting that row ready, it doesn't click.
right.
So they need to hear it and then do it to be able for it to stick. So,
Then
hands-on experience
repetition
is-
makes it
yes.
easy. Then you never forget.
right. Right.
But I was amazed at this gentleman, and I had met him in West Plains, and really nice man. And I did not realize he made some of these for the West Plains band.
Wow.
And so, they were down there, and because these kids couldn't afford violins, so he made it.
Yeah.
Wow. But you look at the
That's
finished
talent.
product, it's beautiful. And then you start out with these pieces of wood that don't look like anything and some glue. You're like, well, what's that going to be? Well, that's going to be a violin. Yeah, okay, sure. No, don't think so. But it's amazing what people can do.
Yeah.
And these are becoming lost arts.
Yes.
They're just not there. So if you have a talent, and it doesn't have to be making violins, it can be anything out there. We've had basket weavers. We've had different people that do different things that they learned a long time ago. Brick making. Yeah, that's one of the neat things I learned about brick making one time, totally by accident. Totally by accident. The right type of mud and why the mud had to come from a certain place in the Mississippi River.
Wow.
It's the only place it could come because it's the only one that's set up that was kiln proof. You could go to like 4,000 degrees and that brick just sat there.
Well, I think we have some soil in our garden that they could use for bricks.
Yeah. Because right now it's a brick, right?
Right now it's
Yeah.
a brick.
But I watched the guy actually go and he'd take his, I'll say, template for bricks, and he'd go to this one place in the Mississippi, but he had to do it when it was wet, and you have to get it not when it's underwater, but when it's kind of starting to try and dry out, and then you have to shovel it, and you have to put it in there and level it off, and then you have to add. He just added a little bit of kind of like a powder to it that would just keep it all solidified together. And I really don't remember what that powder was, but it wasn't cement.
Yeah.
So I said cement. Mud and cement don't mix. But it was all it did is just it kept it together. And then once you put it in a kiln and baked it, that brick was it's like concrete.
Yeah.
And you wondered how
process.
that's how people used to do things years ago. They didn't have
Yeah.
concrete.
Yep.
Well, they made it with their own bricks. And then I remembered going up to the Alton Brick Factory and near St. Louis, and it's right there on the river. You want to know why? They used some of that same mud in their
Yeah.
bricks.
Wow.
And so it was amazing that you see people could do their own. Now, you're not going to mass produce them like that, obviously, but, you watch how it's done, and it's pretty amazing
said,
that
it's
you
a
could do
dying
your
art.
own. Yes.
Yes.
Very interesting things.
Yes.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get to the Dent County 4-H FFA Expo because
right.
it is not a one-day event. It's not just the auction. This event starts over at the Commons on the 13th, correct?
Well, actually,
Or
on the
12th,
12th,
you start to bring stuff in.
Right. The 12th is when the exhibits start coming in
Right.
that the kids have showcased. And this year, In the past, it's always been 4-H exhibits, but the FFA kids work on things throughout the year also. So this year we're going to have the 4-H and FFA exhibits
Well, that's cool.
in there. So that will start on Tuesday, July 12th. And then on Wednesday, July 13th, all of those exhibits will be judged.
Right,
We've got
now
some
that
people
morning,
coming
right?
that morning.
Okay.
And then that afternoon is when the desserts start coming in for the dessert auction.
Favorite time.
Oh my goodness. Last year was amazing. So those, the dessert entries, and that can be anybody. Anybody can bring a dessert in as long as it's there by 5 o'clock. We'll put your name and everything on it. And then our dessert auction starts at 6 o'clock. And that's all that we have going on Wednesday, the exhibit judging and then getting ready for the dessert
And that's
auction.
out of the youth building in the Commons.
At the Commons,
Inside.
Inside, yes. And it's a packed house
Yeah, it
come
gets
auction
crowded.
time. It's really cool. And then on Thursday is when the livestock comes in, and we have our registration. Our weigh-ins start at 12:30. And I'm kind of excited. We have a new show that we're doing this year that will also take place on Thursday. It's going to be a small show,
Okay.
but we're calling it the Pig Pals.
The Pig Pals.
The Pig Pals. I've communicated with the schools here in Dent County, and we have a lot of kids that are special needs.
Mm-hmm.
And so and they may never have the opportunity to do something like this. So we're inviting some of those kids to our expo. We're going to partner them with a 4-H or an FFA exhibitor that is showing a pig.
Obviously.
And they are going to have the opportunity to go in the arena. So we've got our guest exhibitor with a 4-H or FFA member and their hog will be in the arena together. They'll get a little time to practice, and then we're going to have a show for them. They'll be in there showing that hog with their 4-H or FFA exhibitor right there with them. Just an opportunity for them to have the chance to go in and work with an animal
Sure.
and get it to move around. It's just a little fun class for them. But
It's definitely something they'll remember.
Yes, it will. I think we all will.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we'll all remember it. So that'll take place on Thursday, and then we have our exhibitor and family supper Thursday night starting at 6 o'clock. So a full day on Thursday with our weigh-ins and the Pig Pals show that we're going to have. We might not have 5 or 6 kids out there, but I think it's a great opportunity for
And
those
then
kids.
you might have 15 or
and
20.
then we might have 15 or 20, yeah. So, and that's something that I hope grows next year. I kind of dropped the ball on that in contacting the schools. It was really close to the end of school, but I've got a friend of mine that is helping me get in touch with some of these kids so
Very
that
good.
we can have some out there. So that's going to be fun.
Okay.
And then on Friday, starting at 7 o'clock in the morning, the fun begins
The show
with our hog show,
begin, yeah.
and then our sheep and goat show, and then we have the rabbits and the poultry, and then our beef and dairy show should start around 2 o'clock Friday. And then Saturday's sale day,
Sale day, and the sale starts at what time?
9 o'clock in the morning.
So a lot earlier than that 1 o'clock start we used
Yes,
to have, and a
yes.
lot cooler.
Yes, I think it was in 2020 with COVID. They, I think they had a breakfast or something in the morning before the sale, but they did away with that and started the sale at 9 o'clock, and we've just kind of kept that going. It's a little bit cooler in the morning, so we just kept that going.
It's hard to get a breakfast going because everybody's trying to get up and going.
Right,
You know,
right.
and years ago they used to actually have a pedal tractor race that morning.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I
years
think all
ago.
of that, all of
Yeah.
the little activities that the kids are going to be
Right.
involved in, our Salem FFA chapter and the 4-H clubs have activities planned for
Sure.
Thursday and Friday evening for the kids that'll be staying out there, or
Right.
the kids that want to stay for a little while and then go home.
Yeah.
But they've got a bunch of activities that they're going to be
Yeah, they
doing
used to
with
do
the
that at
kids.
10 o'clock in the morning, and then at noon you had your lunch, and then
Yeah.
at 1 you had your show, and it
Yeah.
was pretty warm
Yes.
at times. And
Yeah.
so, anyway, 9 o'clock in the morning on the 16th, right?
The 16th, yes.
Okay. So very good. And of course, we'll be there bringing it, and we'll be broadcasting it live, and we're going to video stream that live as well for
Right.
those that cannot attend.
Yes.
Or maybe cannot be out in that heat. And it could be a hot day.
It
We
could
just
be a
never
hot day.
know. Even in the morning, it can be very hot,
Right.
and because it's July.
Yes, it is July.
That's all you have to say. It's July. It's going to be warm. So, and we invite everybody out there, and you don't have to just go to the auction. You can go out there and visit with the kids
Yep.
once they
It's a
bring their
free
animals
event.
in Thursday, and then they'll be with them the rest of the time and till after the auction, and then it'll all break down, and you'll be amazed how fast it breaks down
Oh yeah.
right after the show. So we invite everybody out there to check things out. But while you're there, you can always cool off inside the youth building and check out those exhibits.
Yep.
Kids put a lot of time into those
Yes, they
exhibits.
do.
They really do. And you're going to find some amazing exhibits. There
Mm-hmm.
are just things that these kids get some creative ideas and somehow are able to put them together.
Yes.
I don't know how to do it, to be honest with you. Sometimes, first off, I don't know where they got the idea.
Yeah.
So their imagination is just going crazy, and then be able to try and not only take that visually inside their head and then make it into something physical that you can touch.
Right.
Really is amazing.
Yep.
So some of these
We've got
kids,
some talented kids. We
Yeah.
had some cake decorating last year that, oh my goodness, they were beautiful. So lots of talent.
yeah, and leave it to our Salem Area Arts Council teaching cake decorating, and a lot of these kids are learning that with their moms
Yeah.
and dads too, not just moms, but they're going up there and they're learning how to decorate cupcakes and stuff. And they learn how to do this from people who are really creative, and so then they go back and then they start putting their own spin to this.
Yep.
So it really makes it kind of fun. So anyway, yeah, you want to check out all those exhibits, and the exhibits will be available after the judging, like about 1 o'clock in the afternoon
Probably,
on
yeah.
Wednesday. It's usually about when they're done.
Yeah.
And then you can actually go in, they'll have their ribbons
Yep.
right there.
So we've got some, we have trophy sponsors, and we have about 64 trophies that we give out during the expo. So we're seeking out sponsorship, and so we do have some spots still available.
Still
for
available?
That. What else do we have? The record book sponsorship. We brought back the record books last year because when COVID hit,
Wow.
I'm beginning to really hate that word.
Yeah,
One
me
of
too.
one of these years we won't be speaking of it again. But when COVID hit, they really kind of did away with turning in the record books. Well, we brought that back last year, and we had some sponsors help us out, and we were able to reward those kids that are
Do a great
putting the
job.
work
yeah.
in their record books. I know record books are awful. They are not fun. I know that. But they're just as important. They're very important.
yeah, they're
you know,
huge.
it's a good skill to have, especially if you're going to be doing something like this, taking over the family farm and that kind of stuff. You've got to be able to keep your records so that you can make good business decisions.
Absolutely.
So we had some sponsors help us out, and we were able to break the kids into 3 different age groups, and then first, second, and I believe third place got a little change to take home with them. First place, I think, was a little over $100 that they were able to take
I keep records.
back with them. Yeah.
Can I turn
I do
mine in?
now. So
Sure got a lot better now.
yeah, much better. Just waiting on somebody to ask if they can look at my record book.
Yeah.
So
Well, you don't want to ever write that off to the IRS.
No,
you know?
no.
Yeah.
So
Want
our
to look at my
tro-
record books?
So our
Oh, yeah.
trophy sponsorships are $30 per spot per trophy. The record book sponsorship is just whatever you would like to give. So
Okay, very good.
we're still looking for record book sponsors. We also have some spots available for vendors. We've got some really cool vendors so far. We've got the freshies that will be out there for your car or your house if you want to hang them up in your house.
Okay.
We've got some home decor that will be there. We've got, and I can't remember the name of the business, it just left me. But they do a lot of the wood cutouts, and they're going to have the shapes of the ear tags and the animals that can be have some like the tag numbers of the kids'
Right.
animals and stuff as a little keepsake. So and of course the food. the food will be there.
Yeah.
So lots of vendors. So if we have some out there that are listening that have a
Food
some
truck or a vendor
food truck or a
tent,
vendor
yeah.
that they would like to set up out at Expo, it doesn't cost you a thing.
But you do like them to contact you, let you know
yes,
they're going to
yes.
be there.
We have an application to fill out, just so we have your information so that we can get everybody
Just
placed.
show up with
and-
your tent.
yeah, don't just show up
Yeah,
with your tent. We need
please
to know
don't.
you're going to be there. So
Please
you can
don't do
call me at the office and I can get that to you. We also have a Facebook page just for the expo. I think it's just Dent County 4-H FFA Expo. And the vendor applications, the record book sponsorship is not on there. The trophy sponsorship is not on there because in order for us to hold your spot, we need your money. So for those two, you'd have to come in the office. But for the vendor application, that's on there, and you can just fill it out and send it to me.
Send it
and
in.
I'll save you a spot.
On the office, second floor of the Judicial Building. Come
Yes.
on by, and if you need to fill out that form for a trophy sponsor, that takes you all of 3 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, it's not very hard. But bring your checkbook.
Bring your
$30,
checkbook.
right?
$30 for trophy
And there's a
sponsorship.
maximum of 5 that you can do this year. That's kind of new, but
Yes.
maximum of 5. So if you want to sponsor 5 different trophy, you can.
Right.
I'm not sure how many you have left. There probably aren't too many
There's
left.
not too many.
Yeah.
Not too many.
So if you want to do that, and you don't really get your choice of which trophies you do.
No, what we do
You just do that, and they
is-
kind of throw them in a hat, don't you?
Well, kind of. I
Yeah.
have a little program on my computer. It's a spinner program.
Okay,
So
well, the same
I've
way.
got all the names of the trophies put in there. So I go down my list whenever, I start at the top and I hit that spinner, and whatever it lands on, sponsorship number 1 gets that one. And then I just go down the list.
I was
so
thinking you had that thing spin, and you hit it with your finger, and it stops right here. And that one, and you lift it, put it right there. Next one, do
Next
the same
one,
thing.
yep.
Have some fun with it, right?
Yep, that's right.
No doubt about it. But if you are planning on being a trophy sponsor, the sooner the better.
Yes.
Because they really like to be able to get all that taken care of, or even a record book sponsor.
Yes.
Please get that taken care of. I would definitely say before the 1st of July, the
Yes.
latest. We want to try and get all that together because this is starting on the 13th, actually on the 12th.
Yes.
But so it's not going to be much time after Independence Day, like a week,
Yep.
to try and put that all together. That's why I said
That's
it
when it
feels
gets
like
crazy.
this is nuts.
Yeah.
know.
That's when it gets crazy.
Yeah, very good. All right, so that's a big item coming up. But we
Yes.
also have the Missouri State Fair coming up that our extension always supports as well.
Yes, yes. The Missouri State Fair is August 11th through the 21st in Sedalia. Am I saying that right?
Sedalia.
Sedalia. Okay. And they have lots of, and I have yet to be there. So I think this may be the year that I need to go to State Fair because I haven't checked out the Missouri State Fair.
It's interesting.
But it looks like there's lots of stuff going on. Trace Adkins will be there. Sam Hunt. Some of these I've never heard of before.
Yeah, you'll get that too.
So yeah.
Yeah, but
Stoney
they're
LaRue and Charlie Crockett.
Yeah.
I've never heard of them before. But lots of bands, lots of activities for the kids.
and
They have
lots of food.
lots of food. That's always the highlight of any
Lots of
state
food,
fair is all the
yeah.
food. We don't eat all day, and then we just
You can't
it's-
when you
yeah,
walk in. It
we're
just
miserable.
It's aroma.
yes, things you've
aroma.
never heard of
Oh.
before, but you have to try it.
Yeah, well, even things you have heard of before, but they'll have a spin to it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So yeah, it's some.
So yeah, they've got
real
all their
goodies.
livestock shows, barnyard story time, all kinds of contests and exhibits. So something for everybody: bull
Yeah.
riding, tractor shows, a little bit of everything. So
Oh,
I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited to go there this
So
year.
head on out there, and pamphlets are available for that. You can also go online at mostatefair.com, and you get the whole breakdown of everything, and you can pick and choose what you want to do or find
Yep.
the right days that you want to go. And there's always usually a lot of good entertainment. They used to have stock car races out there as well. I mean, there used to be a lot of different things going on. And once COVID hit, you never know if they're coming back.
Right.
That's always the
Right.
thing. And so always interesting to see
Well,
what
from
our
the looks
state
of
fair.
this pamphlet, I don't know that they could fit anything else in, but I'm sure.
Yeah,
they,
it was,
I'm
well, I
sure
mean,
they
the
could
one year the
find a
pamphlet
spot.
was like a single sheet.
Yeah.
It was nothing,
And we have some of these pamphlets in our office. So when you come in to pay for your sponsorship, You can
pick one
a
up.
pamphlet. That's
There
right.
you go. All
That's
right, very good. Well, Amy, want to thank you for coming in. Do you have anything else that you need to pass on? Or are you pretty well caught up? One more thing?
The Neighborhood Leadership Academy.
Okay.
This
It's held every year.
It's held every year, and
Okay.
I participated in this the first year when we moved here, just so I could get an idea of what the community has and what I could get involved in. It looks
Boy, you sure didn't know what you're going to get.
Had no idea. No idea. It looks like it starts in September. It's Monday evenings from 6 to 9. And if they're doing it like they did whenever I took it, it's like a Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's an online course, but
They have
there are
in
tons
person,
of extension people.
Don't they have some in-person ones that, like every 5 meetings, they have an in-person
I don't know if they do
get together?
or not. They might.
I know they used to do that, but
Yeah.
then when COVID hit, that all ended.
Yeah. So it starts September 12th and it runs through November 14th. There are scholarships available to help with the cost. I think when I took it and I applied for the scholarship, it was all paid for. So it's a great opportunity to get with community members and toss around another networking opportunity.
Right.
This one focused on the community.
And really helped you get more acquainted as to this area.
Yes, it did.
You had no idea.
Yes, it did.
Florida and Dent County. I don't see a lot of the same stuff.
No.
Humidity, maybe.
Well, now this past
Yeah,
week,
yeah.
I have to admit, it felt like Florida humidity. So, yeah, I felt like I was back in Florida with the weather. So, it's time for it to go. It's time.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're not going to like it again. Probably today or Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
It's
And
gonna
then it'll
feel
get
that
cold,
way.
and I'll say, okay, it's time for it to go.
Yeah.
Never
Go
happy,
away.
are we?
No,
We're never happy.
well, you know, it is amazing when people talk about humidity levels. Yeah, Florida, it's always humid.
It's always humid.
And then they have all of a sudden they have these pop-up showers, and then it'll go away. It'll cool off for a little bit, and then here it is right here again. You know, it doesn't take very long. In Missouri, sometimes the same way.
Yeah.
You get that shower, and you think, oh man, that shower's coming, it's going to cool it off. Then the sun comes out, and it's 3 times warmer
Yes.
than it was because now there's moisture, and it's just
Right.
sucking it right up.
Yep.
So yeah, we're very good about that. So a lot of different things going on with 4-H and FFA. The expos going on, 4-H clubs obviously still going strong. A lot of different things still going on at your 4-H clubs. October 1st is the renewal day, right?
Enrollment, yes,
Okay,
sir.
for enrollment. So if anybody has any questions about 4-H, if you have any questions about the 4-H and FFA Expo, if you want to be a vendor or anything like that, or if you want to just come and be a sponsor, we're still looking for record book sponsors as well as the trophy sponsors. Feel free to get in touch with Amy at the office, 729-3196.
Right.
And the office is on the second floor of the Judicial Building. Now, if you can't trek up those skinny little steps to get up there,
Every day I say, I hate these stairs.
I bet you do. It's a great workout, though. It really is. But
Yeah, whatever.
It definitely is a climb. And if you can't make that climb, just call up
Just
there,
call.
and they'll come down and talk to you and bring you what you
Absolutely.
need. And if you've never been up there, there's a lot of different information up there that you can pick up. It's all free from the extension.
Right.
Or if you need some information about insects that are in your home that you have no idea what they are, if you can capture one, you can take it there and they can send it off and tell you what it is. I mean,
Yes,
I
sir.
actually had one of those in my house. I had no idea what this thing was, never seen it before. And then when they sent it back, it said, not normal in this area.
Oh.
And well, how did it get here? And
Yeah.
how did it get in my house?
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, well.
You never
then,
know.
Well, then you find out you had these storms come through and all this wind. They get up in a tree, and all of a sudden they get blown in the wind, and the next thing you know, they're 35, 40, 50 miles or 100 miles from where they're supposed to be.
All right.
They're here.
Yep.
Yeah, you find it. So, anyway, thank God it was dead
Yeah.
when I found it, but it was multicolored, and it kind of looked like something out of a science fiction
my
thing.
goodness.
What the heck is that thing?
Yeah.
Actually comes
I
from
think
Texas.
I have to find out.
It actually comes from Texas. It's a big old
Ew.
thing. Yeah, it wasn't like it was an itty bitty little thing. It was a big old thing. It's sitting in my dining area.
Oh.
What are you doing in
And
here?
where had it been? I mean,
and how did it get
how
in
did
there?
it get in? Yeah.
Yeah, what did it come in on? So
Yeah.
you just never know. So, but if you do find something like that, they can take care of that for you. We talk about soil tests. We talk about that hay test. These are all available through your friends at the extension. You
Yeah.
can find out more.
We get calls about pond issues
Yeah, I bet.
and grasses, and so gardening and lots of
Right.
information.
And Eric is there for
If-
your agricultural needs.
And
So
if we don't know the answer there in the office, we can definitely hook you up with somebody that will be able to help you.
Extension is a great network that extends
Yes,
a
it is.
lot far beyond Dent County. There's a lot of great people. Gatlin Bundle, we talk about that. Got Rachel, and she does a great job too. So, all the different people involved. You got a lot of great support staff. So if you have a need, 729-3196 or stop on by. That's 112 East 5th Street. Did you know
Yes.
that? Okay, I figured
Yes.
you did. So I got off the top of my head.
Very good. I'm impressed.
Yeah, up there at the Judicial Building. And, of course, if you have any questions or can't make that climb, 729-3196. And you can go online, by the way. If you type in Dent County Extension, it'll take you right there in Google or Bing or whatever else you might use.
Right.
Oh, there's so many different ones. Just take your choice. But it will find you, and then you can go through, and you can actually, we talked about a couple of workshops here. Amy, we already mentioned, there are many other workshops as well in different regions, and they will actually separate out by region. You can
Yes.
actually go central region, north, east, northwest, I think south central, southeast, and southwest. I think there's, is there 6 or
East
7? I think
Central.
St. Louis and Kansas City might be in there as well. So you get the different regions, and you can find out about some of those workshops. Might be on gardening, might be on grasses, might be on agriculture, might be on who knows. But some of those are pretty interesting, and you can sign up for them. Some are free, some have a small cost to them.
Right.
Check them out at the extension website. It's a pretty interesting place to go. As always, thank you for your time.
Thank
Hope
you,
you have a
Stan.
fantastic day and a great Independence Day holiday, because after that it's going to be nothing but work
It's going to be crazy.
for the next
Good crazy.
10 days after
Yes.
that. No
Yes.
doubt about that. Amy, again, thank you for your time. We really appreciate
you.
you coming in. That's Amy Glenn, our Dent County 4-H advisor. Is it advisor or
Youth
is it
Program
coordinator?
Associate.
Youth program.
YPA. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a new one on me.
Yeah. I'll test you on that next time.
Youth program. Yeah, you might need to, because I'm probably going to forget. No doubt about that. Well, we thank Amy, and if you have anything, and by the way, we are very sincere about that. If you have a special skill you would like to teach
Absolutely.
the 4-Hers out there that you think that might be interesting, and maybe you're saying nobody be interested in that, call Amy
be
and find out
surprised.
how many people might be interested
Right.
in that.
Right. Even if it's not something associated with one of the 4-H projects, just to be able to go into one of the club meetings and do a demonstration and just teach something new to the kids.
It's amazing. It's amazing some of the talents that are out there that people can do.
Right.
That they all think that nobody be interested in what I can do.
Yep. You'd be surprised.
You'd be surprised.
Yep. Give me a call.
You really would be. Thank you very much, Amy.
Thank you, Stan.
All right, keep it right here. We have civic happenings coming up shortly.